Ainsley is 9 years old, is the tallest child in her 3rd grade class, and has curves that match her mother's. When she was in the 1st grade, she started to develop pubic hair and breasts. Despite many doctor's visits, x-rays, and lab tests, nothing was found out of the ordinary. Ainsley's mother decided to explore a less conventional option and took Ainsley to see an applied kinesiologist, an expert in preventing and managing injury, chronic disease, and helping to reach peak physical performance. The doctor suggested that Ainsley may have been affected by an artificial estrogen like BPA. In the 1950s, industrial chemicals such as BPA or bisphenol A were added to a majority of plastics to make the material more durable. Within a very short time, plastic could be found in every car, home, school, workplace, and hospital. Shortly thereafter, we started to observe the occurrence of both environmental and health issues related to the use of plastic. Today, we can find BPA in just about every synthetic plastic, including water bottles, baby pacifiers, and even our grocery receipts. In the 1990s, Dr. David Feldman, a professor at Stanford University, discovered BPA and its ability to mimic the naturally occurring hormone estrogen. Organic estrogen is responsible for the physical and reproductive organ growth in a woman's body. For Ainsley, the exposure to this chemical was a catalyst for her early onset puberty. But it is merely one of the many dangers presented by our habitual use of plastic. Today, I will unravel the truth about plastic by examining the role it plays in our everyday lives, revealing the drastic effects it has on our health, as well as the health of the environment, and share ways to control our dependency on plastic. Health issues related to plastic and BPA specifically affect everyone around the world. According to the National Center of Biotechnology information, 1 million tons of BPA is produced in the United States per year, which is almost 25% of the global production. Over the past 68 years, BPA has drastically altered the growth and development of fetuses and young girls. A study done by the Columbia Center for Children's Environmental Health found that 94% of pregnant women studied had trace amounts of the chemical in their urine. BPA is passed from placenta to fetus in utero and then afterwards in breast milk. The effects show up through early onset puberty and menstruation years later after birth. Because BPA is an estrogen mimicking chemical, it is also linked to several health problems like anxiety, depression, and a greater risk of developing certain cancers. BPA also has a significant effect on males. A study done in China by Drs. Lang Wang on 671 boys between the ages of 9 and 18 concluded that exposure to even small amounts of BPA during childhood delayed male puberty and then impeded it in the final stages. The difference in age of puberty can have adverse effects on the future of human reproduction, resulting in an uncertain future for today's children and generations to come. The worldwide dependency on single-use plastic is overwhelming not only our bodies, but our planet. Since none of the most commonly used plastics are biodegradable, nearly 80% of the more than 6 billion metric tons of plastic generated between the 1950s and 2015 have accumulated in our landfills, ocean basins, free-flowing islands, and other natural environments. The pollutions of our waters not only affect marine life, but can directly affect humans as well. A new report from World Wildlife Fund found that between 1970 and 2012, marine life population has declined nearly 50%. World Wildlife also found that 3 million people depend on wild-caught seafood and fish as their primary source of protein. When fish and other seafoods mistake pieces of plastic as their food source, their bodies are directly affected by BPA. That BPA is then passed on to humans and can have the same effects as using plastic in our everyday lives. The University of Missouri researchers and U.S. Geological Survey have both found that BPA has the same effect on fish and seafood reproductive systems as humans. If the maturity for sex organs is slowed down in marine life, their population will decline at a faster rate than the human population can compensate for. Beyond this, the destruction of well-established ecosystems will lead to the extinction of numerous life forms. The need for a more organic and plastic-free world has become more of a necessity than a simple desire. With all of the innovative minds on this planet, it is now possible. Pontus Tranquillus is a 24-year-old Swedish man who has created a potato plastic. His creation is 100% organic and biodegradable, consisting only of potato starch and water. The plastic takes 2 months to decompose, and the byproduct adds nutrients back into soil. He plans for professional production and hopes that it inspires endless possibility for the future of plastic products. The fight to eliminate plastic does not stop there. The FDA and United Nations have both taken steps to help eradicate our use and production of plastic and BPA. In July of 2012, the FDA officially announced they will no longer allow BPA in baby bottles and children's cups to reduce infancy exposure. In February of 2017, the United Nations officially launched an unprecedented global campaign urging governments to pass plastic reduction policies, targeting industries to minimize plastic packaging and redesign products, and calling on consumers to change their throwaway habits before irreversible damage is done to our planet. Eric Selman, head of UN Environment, said it is past time that we tackle the plastic problem that blights our oceans. Plastic is surfing onto Indonesian beaches, settling onto the ocean floor at the North Pole, and rising through the food chain onto our dinner plates. We've stood by too long as this problem has gotten worse. It must stop. As individuals, it may seem impossible to reduce the amount of plastic we use in our everyday lives, but with a little bit of time, effort, and investment, it is relatively easy to live a low plastic life. A newly launched company called Final Straw sells reusable straws in keychain-sized cases for $24.50 at finalstraw.com. Another simple change that will reduce our use of plastic drastically is buying reusable bags for shopping. Several major chains such as Kroger, Salvation Army, Walmart, Target, and Kohl's have all started to sell reusable bags and now charge for disposable plastic in paper bags in an effort to reduce waste. And finally, reusing BPA-free plastic containers such as Tupperware or Farberware will not only reduce single-use food packaging, but will reduce plastic waste and BPA exposure altogether. Today, I've shed light on our overuse of plastic, how it drastically affects our health, as well as the health of the environment, and shared ways to control our dependency on plastic, protecting not only your health, but that of our planet's. We have to remember that Ainsley's condition is not reversible, but it is possible to make a change in the way that America views and utilizes plastic to ensure future generations live healthier lives on a less polluted planet.